is what's been presented to you as an amendment to the business license ordinance. I've had a chance to review, and some issues have come up recently regarding business licenses in the city of Taylor, regarding enforcement, regarding businesses that are operating in the city that don't have active business licenses, whether or not they're able to get them, when they apply to get them, whether or not they qualify for them. Some of them have owed money to the city and don't get them, and the issue has come up is how we are enforcing these and writing tickets. In looking at this, the amendment that's been presented to you guys, basically I looked at it, and most municipal enforcement has moved to municipal civil infractions rather than misdemeanors. So when I started practicing law 25 years ago and started municipal stuff about 20 years ago, everything in the Taylor City Code and everybody's municipal ordinances were all 90-day misdemeanors. That's what the Home Rule City Act, the Township Act gives you. You can pass laws in the city that are 90-day misdemeanors up to $500 fine, okay? What happens with those misdemeanors is that a misdemeanor charge is usually sometimes inappropriate for certain things, and the Home Rule Cities Act has a municipal civil infraction, which is a civil fine instead of criminal fines. And particularly with businesses, though technically businesses, even big businesses, when you watch SEC stuff, can be held guilty of crimes. But I mean, if a business is held guilty of a crime, I mean, nobody's going to jail really, it's just fines and costs. So in looking at this business license ordinance, I noticed that there was nothing in there about what the potential penalty or the punishment was, which means that it defaults to a misdemeanor, which is in the first section of our code. And going forward with municipal civil infractions is much easier for the city to enforce for several reasons. Number one, it's a fine, and the individual defendants or the companies are a little less concerned about a civil fine than a misdemeanor being charged on their record, on whoever's record it is, even if it's a company. And number two, it involves, for enforcement, a formal hearing rather than a trial. If you're charged with a misdemeanor, you're entitled to have a lawyer, you're entitled to a certain extent, have some discovery. You can qualify for a court-appointed lawyer, potentially, if you're indigent or fit the bill for those things. With a municipal civil infraction, there is no right to a jury trial, there's no right to a lawyer. You can have a lawyer if you want, and it's a civil fine. But what is more significant is that there's a little bit more things that I can do as a city attorney to make the people come in. When you have a misdemeanor, if they don't show up for court, the court issues a bench warrant, and the bench warrant is the issue to go arrest the person. For these types of ordinances, which are just local ordinances, like there's no state statute that governs a business license, it doesn't get entered on the lien anyway, so it's not like if they get pulled over, it shows there's a warrant out of table. So the municipal civil infraction is a lot easier for us to do. We can get what's called injunctive relief, which means that I can get the court to order them to do things or order to show up and to order fines. And it's just a much easier enforcement mechanism, and we can bring the people in. So that's the reason. Now, the other change that I think was there from a couple of years ago includes the definition section of the retail sales establishment. That was really a holdover from, I think, 2 years ago when we were discussing what to do about the Taylor Town Center. So we wanted to add a little bit more. I thought, based upon our fee schedule and what we were charging for tables and stuff, that we needed to change the definition of retail sales establishment. It goes along with what our routine has been for charging people for business licenses to have a table at the Taylor Town Center. And I think it's all been cleared up because I haven't been brought in with some issues recently regarding that particular business for a period of time. So I think that's why this got put on the back burner. But while we were doing that, I think we still should change that and just make the violations a municipal civil infraction. It's really much easier to enforce. So that's it.
Can you talk about what I wasn't here with the Taylor trade, what the issue was?
Sure. The Taylor Town Center Trade Center, I don't know if you've been there, but it's like kind of a flea market type place inside with a bunch of tables and booths. And some of them are very temporary, but a lot of them are regular, that they're there almost every month. It's like a person's business. They sit there and they have locks and different enclosed areas. And so what had happened is our fire department was going in and our building department was having issues with wires, cords, safety issues, all kinds of things that were there. And that's what brought up the issue of who's paying for what, who are these people, all things like that. And so the point was, from some of the individuals was, look, these are just some people coming on, putting on old baseball cards or old stuff from their attic on the stuff, which some of it is, but a lot of it is really businesses that are there. These are these people's weekend businesses. And we really wanted to regulate them, have them pay a fee so they're registered with the city, so we know what's going on in the city. I mean, we don't want some fly-by-night people coming in, ripping off people, selling stuff that is not appropriate, or selling stuff that's defective or really ripping off people. So we want to get a handle on it. So that was really the issue. And we already had a fee schedule charging, like, whatever we charge for a business license. I think for like a table or a temporary license, it was like significantly less to have a table here. So we were already doing it. So when the issue came up to me, I said, yeah, we could do this or that, but I'd like it more clarified in the ordinance on what we were actually doing. So that was the reason why.
The only issue that may remain related to that topic, and I don't want to get too far off because, you know, if we got one other item to discuss is when they were originally approved, and I don't know if that was 2010, 2011, something like that, they went in as an antique shop.
Right.
To meet a certain definition, not a resale flea market or whatever it is. When the Gibraltar Trade Center shuttered, that quickly changed in a hurry because a lot of those people needed a landing place. And so, I mean, it was already there, but I don't know if we have any real ability to change it now. They've been doing it essentially for 10 years, but it did not receive approval for a resale shop.
So real quick, Cindy, how long have you been clerk?
12, 7
Well,
years.
from the beginning, I think I remember you had problems with getting people with their business license.
Specifically when it's department related to whereas they don't pay their personal property taxes, they're missing their letter of intent and their business file. You know, we can notify them, but without any teeth, so to say, to.
So now we have a little bit.
Yes. That and renewals to those that choose to ignore the renewal.
I know it's been a problem for a while.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier for me to act as prosecutor for the city. As soon as Cindy calls me, or if Michelle Tocco calls me with a particular issue for someone, you get the ordinance department, issue a ticket, it gets calendared for a date, and I can get right on it with them. And if they don't show up, I can get the judge to order them to show up, and then tack it on the door and go there and get real serious with them. You know, it's just easier for me to do it, actually.
Tim?
Yep.
So there's no change at all to anything relative to chapter 10 except this definition and what the penalty is?
Correct.
We're not recommending, there's nothing that can make it better, make it easier, make it more user-friendly. Everything about the ordinance is fine except the definition and the penalty.
Any questions on that? Mr. Ruffey, you have something else as far
Yeah,
as?
yeah. The other thing as circulated, I think.
Dave, just one second, Mr. Chairman, if I may. So this does take 2 readings, so if you guys don't have any issues or objections, I'd like to put this particular topic under mayor's communication or open business. It doesn't matter to me, but I'd like to propose the first reading occurs tomorrow, and then it'll leave the second reading for the following meeting.
That was for what we just